In today's video, I'm gonna tell you guys 10 tips and tricks on how to use the Santino character skill like a pro in Free Fire. But first of all, let's see how the Santino character skill works, because as you guys might know, after the update, the Santino character skill was changed. Now before the update, what the Santino character skill did was the mannequin used to stay in a still position. But now after the update, the mannequin has the ability to move forward. So now when you press the Santino character skill, the Santino character spawns a 200 HP mannequin, and this mannequin will move forward for 12 seconds, and within that 12 seconds you can press the Santino character skill again to teleport back to the place where the mannequin is. But remember, there are two main reasons that you might not be able to teleport. The first one is that if you try to teleport after that 12 seconds, you won't be able to teleport, because after that 12 seconds the Santino character's mannequin will disappear. So remember to teleport before that 12 seconds. And the other reason that you might not be able to teleport is if the distance between you and the mannequin is greater than 60 meters, you won't be able to teleport as well. And another thing about the Santino character is that after that 12 seconds are over, there's gonna be a 80-second cooldown time. So now let's get down to the 10 tips and tricks on how to use the Santino character skill like a pro in Free Fire. So first, let's start with the first trick. Trick number one is a trick that you guys can use when you're rushing glue walls or when you're rushing a permanent cover. So first of all, what you need to do is first you need to choose which side that you're gonna rush from. For example, let's say that you're rushing a glue wall. You will have to first choose which side you're gonna rush from, whether you're gonna rush from the left side or whether you're gonna rush from the right side. For example, let's say that you're gonna rush from the left side. So if you're rushing from the left side, send the Santino character skill from the right side. Now when you attack the enemy, you can teleport towards the other side and then attack the enemy from the back. So this is a trick that I have seen a lot of players use recently. So you guys can also use this trick when you're rushing either glue walls or when you're rushing into permanent covers. So now let's get on to the second trick. Now the second trick is a very common way of rushing. So first, what you need to do before rushing is to use the Santino character skill in a cover. I will tell you guys why it's very important to place the Santino character skill in a cover. But first, place the Santino character skill in a cover, then go and rush the enemy, and if by any chance if you get attacked by the enemy and your HP is very low, you can quickly teleport back to that place where you kept the Santino character's mannequin. But now let's get down to the reason that I told you guys to keep the Santino character's mannequin in a cover. Now tip number 3 is one of the biggest mistakes that players do when using the Santino character skill. The mistake that a lot of players do when using the Santino character skill is that they keep the Santino character skill in an open place, in a place where enemies can easily see the Santino character. I think you guys can remember that I told you guys in the beginning of this video that the Santino character's mannequin has 200 HP, and now if an enemy attacks the Santino character skill, the enemy has the ability to take down that mannequin, because as I told you guys earlier, the mannequin has 200 HP, and if the enemy takes down the mannequin, you won't be able to teleport back. And another thing that players do is that when you use the Santino character's mannequin, a lot of the enemies like to stay near the mannequin. They'll just stay until you teleport, and once you teleport, they will attack you. So for those two reasons, remember to place the Santino character's mannequin in a place that the enemy won't be able to easily see. So now let's get down to trick number 4. So as you guys might know, sometimes we get into fights outside the safe zone, and even if we win the fight, there are some times that we lose a lot of HP and we get eliminated. So now I'm going to tell you guys a trick that you guys can use with the Santino character to actually help you with such situations. So now for example, let's say that you are in a fight with an enemy outside the safe zone. So first, what you need to do is send the Santino character's mannequin towards the safe zone and then attack the enemy. So when you attack in the enemy, if you take the enemy down, you can quickly teleport back to the place that the mannequin is. So from there, you won't have to cover a lot of steps towards the safe zone. But if you just don't use the Santino character skill and you take down an enemy, and if you lose a lot of HP, you will have to cover a lot of steps towards the safe zone, and by the time you go towards the safe zone, you might lose a lot of HP and you might get eliminated. But if you use the Santino character skill, the Santino character's mannequin will move forward towards the safe zone, and when you teleport, you won't have to cover a lot of steps. But remember, when using this trick, check whether there are any covers in that place. For example, let's say there's a rock or there's a tree. So if you send the Santino character skill straight towards a rock or a tree, it might stop there. So remember to first see the area, see whether there are any covers or something like that, like trees or rocks, and try to send the Santino character's mannequin in a path where there aren't any obstacles like trees and rocks. So guys, now let's move on to trick number 5. So as you guys might know, before we rush into an enemy's territory, it's better to know how many enemies there are in that territory, and it's also better to know the positions of those enemies. But the problem is, if we try to go in and rush the enemy blindly, a lot of the time they might take us down. But you guys can actually use the Santino character skill to scout the enemy's territory and then inform your teammates, and also consider whether or not to rush that enemy's territory. So first what you need to do, as usual, place the Santino character skill in a cover, then go to the enemy's territory, and if by any chance if an enemy attacks you or if you get into an intense situation, you can quickly teleport back to the place that you kept the mannequin. So guys, now let's get on to trick number 6. Now trick number 6 is a way that you guys can use to cross rivers. As you guys might know, when we try to cross a river in Free Fire, two of the biggest problems that we have, number one is swimming speed is very low when we try to swim across a river. The second problem that we have is that if an enemy takes us down, we don't get knocked down, we instantly get eliminated if you get taken down inside the water. But guys, you can actually use the Santino character skill to cross rivers even without swimming. So first use the Santino character skill, and then the mannequin will move forward across the river, and once the mannequin moves across the river, you can teleport back to the other side. Now let's move on to trick number 7. Let's say that your HP is very low and you need to move from one cover to the other cover, but if you try to run and move towards the other cover, you could get attacked by the enemy. For example, let's say that your HP is very low, and if you get at least hit by a single bullet, you could get eliminated. But you guys can actually use the Santino character skill to move to that other cover even without running. First of all, use the Santino character skill and it will move forward towards that other cover, and then you can quickly teleport back to the other side even without running. So now let's get on to trick number 8. Now trick number 8 is a trick that you guys can use to fall back. For example, let's say that you are attacking a single enemy. Let's say that you don't even know how many enemies there are in that side and you are attacking a single enemy. But suddenly, the other teammates of that enemy try to attack you. So in that situation, there's a high chance that you could get attacked and taken down by those enemies. So what you can do is that while holding onto that fight, you can send the Santino character skill towards the back, and now while you're holding onto that fight, you can quickly teleport towards the other side and then move towards your teammates. So that's another trick that you guys can use. You can quickly fall back and get away from intense situations. So guys, now let's move on to trick number 9. Now trick number 9 is a trick that you guys can use to go down onto places without receiving a lot of fall damage. So for example, if I try to jump from a higher position, I'll receive a lot of fall damage and I might even get eliminated. But if you have the Santino character skill, you can go down without receiving a lot of fall damage. For example, let's take this situation. So in this situation, if I'm on top of the factory, now what I can do is that I can use the Santino character skill, the mannequin will go down, and then I can teleport back down without receiving a lot of fall damage. So that's another trick that you guys can use. But remember, as I said in the beginning, if the distance between you and the mannequin is greater than 60 meters, you won't be able to teleport. So now let's move on to trick number 10. Now trick number 10 is actually not a trick, but it's a character combination that I would like to recommend to players that are using the Santino character. So the first active character is obviously the Santino character. Now let's get on to the 3 passive characters of this character combination. Now for the first passive character of this character combination, we'll need a character that has the ability to increase the movement speed. As I told you guys in the beginning, the Santino character skill will only work for 12 seconds. So within that 12 seconds, we'll need a character that will increase our movement speed. We will need to move fast within those 12 seconds. So for that character, we are going to use the Kelly character. So now let's move on to the second passive character. Now for the second passive character, we'll need a character that will give us HP. As you guys know, the Santino character doesn't give us HP. So the character that we are going to use for the second passive character is the fourth character. Now for the third passive character, I'm going to tell you guys a character that's going to be very useful when you're rushing with the Santino character. I'll tell you guys why it's very important later on. But first, the third passive character that we are going to use is the Moko character. Now the reason that the Moko character is going to be very useful when rushing, for example, let's say that we attack an enemy and then we teleport. As you guys know, when we attack an enemy, there's gonna be a tag that is displayed on top of the enemy. So when we teleport, we will know where the enemy is. So from there, you guys can either throw a grenade onto the enemy, or you guys can go and rush the enemy. So for that reason, we are gonna use the Moko character. But if you guys wanna know one of the fastest character combinations that you guys can use after the update, check out this video, and I'll see you guys later on with another video. And until then, take it easy fam. Peace.